X is probably my favorite letter in the entire English alphabet. I still don't think redesigning Twitter was a good idea though. But we're not here to talk about Twitter. I can't think of a language that would write X with a diacritic, though some languages have apparently too many diacritics. I can't think of an English word starting with this letter, which wouldn't be a Greek loanword, other than X-ray. X can not only represent sounds, but whole concepts, like X can be used instead of a multiplication sign. X can also be pronounced as times in some cases. It can also be used to shorten some words, like FX. I can go on and on with the usage of this letter in the English language, but that's not the main topic of this video. To start, in my native language, which is Russian, this letter is called H and represents the sound H, and also occasionally H, but that's just a thing Russian does, which might be a topic for another video. Anyway, why does it represent this sound instead of what it represents in English, French, or Portuguese? That is because Russian doesn't use Latin alphabet, but it uses Cyrillic alphabet instead. This Cyrillic alphabet was based on an older Cyrillic alphabet, which had 43 letters. Wait, 43? That's so many! This Cyrillic alphabet was based on Greek alphabet, and modern Greek alphabet only has 24 letters, and 43 is like almost twice as much. One of these 43 letters was letter Her. This word is occasionally used in modern Russian as a swear word, meaning you can look it up. The letter Her looked exactly like modern Russian letter H and represented the same sound. This letter was based on Greek letter He, which also represented the sound H. This letter was not based on anything else. The Greek just made it from scratch, or we don't know exactly what this letter was based on. But wait, Latin alphabet was based on the alphabet of the Etruscans, and they took the alphabet from Greek. So doesn't Greek alphabet have something to represent the cluster X? And it does. Introducing letter Xi, or as Greek people pronounce it, Xi. This letter also exists in the older Cyrillic alphabet we were talking about. This Greek letter was based on a Phoenician letter, Samech, which in Phoenician represented the sound S. It is interesting that Greek letter Sigma, which is used in Greek to represent the sound S, and was the ancestor of Latin and Cyrillic letters to represent the sound S, was actually based on Phoenician letter Shin, which was used to represent the sound Sh. The Cyrillic alphabet also has a letter to represent this sound, which looks like that, and there's a probability that this Cyrillic letter was based on Shin, or its descendants in other alphabets, like Hebrew and Aramaic. So what were we talking about? Right, Xi. Why did Greek people need a letter to represent a cluster, rather than just write it like a sequence, K, S? Xi is not the only such letter. Greek also has Psi to represent the cluster Ps. So why did Greek people need a letter to represent Ps? Well, you know Ts and Ch are sequences of consonants, but still single phonemes? That has nothing to do with Greek. Words in ancient Greek could only end in vowels S or N, and X and Ps were the only consonant clusters that could appear at the end of the word, like in Kuklops and Fulax, as well as Nx and X, with one exception, Ls only occurring in Hals. But why did the letter to represent X look like this in Latin? Well, Xi wasn't always a letter. Remember the He we talked about earlier? In ancient times, it represented aspirated sound K, and as Xi didn't exist just yet, people wrote X like this, Chi Sigma. In some Western dialects, like the dialect of Arcadia, a region in the central Peloponnese, or the dialect of Magna Graecia, the Greek colonies in Sicily and the southern part of the Italian peninsula, this letter was used as a simplification of this digraph. In the end, more conservative Eastern forms became the standard of Classical Greek, and thus Chi stood for K and later H. But the Etruscans took the Western variant of the alphabet, which used the letter to represent X. Romans based their alphabet on that of the Etruscans, and that's where we are today. It's interesting, however, that some languages today that use Latin alphabet, like Azerbaijani and Kurdish, use letter that is called X in English, represent H, the exact same sound this letter represents in Cyrillic and modern-day Greek. This letter is also used to represent H in the IPA. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And please watch the credits, they really took long to make.